Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I have returned from yet another sleepover, and so if you see any smoke, it's this cup of lovely hot chocolate, which is a bit too hot for me to drink at the moment, but it's like my recovery drink from a hard night, so let's just put it that way and leave it there. So the other day I had a think right up here in my normal human brain, and it made me realise why I think my life is so boring. This is because basically what my life consists of isn't actually a lot. So you think I'd kind of have time to do mad or interesting things, but I'm not really that kind of person who goes and does these mad experimental things. Essentially my life consists of pretty ordinary things that I don't particularly think are very weird. Obviously the things I do in my life to start with are the obvious things like reading, writing, seeing, etc. All those things that are pretty obvious and the human brain and the human body does automatically anyway. I do them all the time. Sleeping is another one. It is natural things that everybody does. So now it moves on to the stuff which is slightly more out of the ordinary than sleeping, for example. It's stuff like the Duke of Edinburgh Award, which I do, where I have to do a volunteering task, a physical task, an expedition, and a skill, and all of these go towards an award which is represented by the husband of the Queen. So apparently it's quite prestigious to quite a lot of employees, but I wouldn't particularly know because I'm only 14 and I haven't really needed a job yet. So this means I have to do an activity for each of these individual categories. And so for my physical, at the moment I'm playing rugby every week, which is very, very, very tiring and time consuming, but it's going quite well. It's all good, all safe and dandy. I haven't broken a bone yet in my entire life, so it's all fine so far. Hopefully. I'm going to work in my primary school, which I went to when I was in primary school, obviously, and I'm helping out with the after school clubs, so I go there every week for about an hour and help out. I say help out, I basically just play football with the kids, and every week I go and play golf at the local golf course, because that's my skill for Duke of Edinburgh. That's basically things that are kind of out of the ordinary that people wouldn't normally do every week unless they really wanted to, but I kind of have to get this award, so it's a one way of making my life not so boring as it would have been if I hadn't have done it. But obviously there are going to be times when I'm obviously not doing these things, and in those times generally this is basically what happens. So the first thing I normally do if I'm not doing these things is revision. The way I look at revision is that it's all in there somewhere, but it's all about finding the idea that sparks you to remember it back and write it down on the exam paper. That's all revision is in my eyes. Just being able to flick it back to the front of your brain and write it down. And people in my class seem to be worrying about this maths mock exam. And I find that quite strange because, in my opinion, it's a mock exam, and so we're not trying to get a proper GCSE out of it. We're just trying to see what we could achieve in our real one. And obviously, we're trying to find out if we're good enough to be entered early or anything. And we're obviously going to make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to get 100 out of 100 in the test. So it's all about working out what you did wrong and make sure you improve on it for the next time. And now the second thing you might find me doing if I'm not revising or pretending to revise is playing video games quite inevitably. So when I go home I flick on the computer, switch on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube, check through all my things, and then just sit there scrolling and refreshing the page endlessly on Facebook. I find it quite easy to get myself lost on Facebook for ages, which is quite annoying, very, very annoying actually. like really annoying. So apart from that, lots of the time I'm at school, obviously, because I have to be by law, essentially. And when I'm not at school, I'll probably be hanging out with my friends, having sleepovers and stuff. So yeah, this is why I think my life is boring. If you think your life is more boring than mine or something, feel free to comment or something. Thank you very much for watching. My nose is strangely red in this light. That's probably because it's quite cold in here and my hot chocolate hasn't really cooled down yet. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.
You can't touch this. You can't touch this. You can't touch this. You can't touch this.